My name is Sulla King. I'm 35 years old. I've been married to my husband, Harry, for 5 years. We have a 4-year-old son. Harry's family is wealthy. In fact, his father, Joseph, was once a singer with a hit song. That alone built him a fortune enough to live a life of leisure. One day, I got a call that Harry was rushed to the hospital. Unbelievably, he had been stranded during a cruise date with his mistress. He was quickly rescued and taken to the hospital. When I got there, Harry was overly dramatically hooked up to N4. With tears in his eyes, he said, "Oh, Sulla, you came. I thought I was gonna die." He must have been really scared. "You're the only one. I need you to take care of me," he said weakly.
"Like I care. Here are the divorce papers,"
I retorted. Just then, a woman peeked through the curtain gap.
"What?"
Behind the curtain was Harry's mistress, a model named Rachel, with a battered face. "Rachel, you're safe." "That's great."
"Huh? How can you say that? You left me to drown and only you got rescued."
So typical of Harry. Always putting himself first.
"And now, look at this scar on my face. How will I continue modeling?"
There was a deep cut on Rachel's cheek. This might be something that makeup can't conceal.
"This is partly your wife's fault, too. You should take responsibility. Or else I'll sue."
How dare she, as a mistress, say something like that? Moreover, Rachel and I were acquaintances. Even though Harry pursued her, becoming an acquaintance's husband's mistress is quite bold. Well, since Rachel and I were rivals, her aim was probably more about taking Harry away from me.
"I have contracts with companies for commercials, and now I might have to pay a penalty. What are you gonna do about it? Even if I get plastic surgery, it's gonna cost a fortune. You, the King family, should take full responsibility."
It wasn't an intentional accident. The sea is just that dangerous.
"What are you talking about? Harry's pickup line was about cruising, right? Showing off with a boating license he got in just a 2-day course, switching women left and right. Aren't you embarrassed at 40?
Come on, calm down. Sulla is here, watch your language."
Your wife knows, doesn't she? Such things wouldn't break Sulla. She's not that weak."
Then Rachel's anger turned towards me. "With a face like that, you can't continue modeling." If that's the case, I had something to say, too. I had let Rachel be Harry's mistress for 2 years, waiting for the right moment to confront her. Rachel and I first met 17 years ago. Rachel and I were both 18 years old. We started as reader models for magazines, and that led to offers from talent agencies. From there, we began modeling, but neither of us became explosively popular. We worked steadily on small jobs, eventually walking the runway at the New York collection. Other gigs included being paid company at drinks and swimsuit jobs, gradually increasing our recognition. We were not frequent on TV, but we were active as magazine models. Rachel and I, the same age, joined the agency at the same time. Inevitably, we became rivals. While modeling, Rachel began producing her own clothing brand. However, that didn't go well, so she shifted to specializing in beauty, starting a cosmetics brand. Around that time, I got pregnant with Harry. And temporarily stepped back from the entertainment industry.
Basically, Sulla, you married Harry for his money, right? Everyone knew Harry was a playboy, not a decent guy. And then a shotgun wedding. Your fans were all shocked, weren't they? Like, oh, so Sulla's that kind of person too. Well, Rachel, being Harry's mistress makes you no different. And let's face it, a mistress is way below a legal wife. But when did Sulla and Harry even start dating? Back then, Sulla was seeing someone else, right? And that guy was way better than Harry. People were wondering why she'd choose Harry. He's not that appealing.
True, I can't easily explain why I married Harry, who was known for playing around. I was originally favored by his father, Joseph. He was a senior at the same agency. Joseph debuted as a singer 40 years ago and made a fortune from his hit debut song and royalties. Afterward, his songs were often used in the music industry, and including the royalties from his singing, he amassed enough wealth to live leisurely for the rest of his life. He was known for his extravagant spending, partying every night. A heavy drinker, he would gather staff and juniors for lavish parties. Raised by such a father, Harry too had a skewed sense of money. Even at 35, he hadn't settled down, worrying his father. My meeting with Harry began when I was invited to Joseph's birthday party. I met Harry at one of Joseph's birthday parties at his lavish Hamptons home. Joseph was keen on setting me up with Harry. Turning 30, I was unsure about continuing as a model. Marrying Harry meant a life without financial worries, not that I didn't have ulterior motives. At first, I dated Harry out of curiosity, but soon we had a child and hurried into marriage. Harry doesn't love you anymore, Sulla. He always badmouthed you. He said he married you only because of the child. Otherwise, he wouldn't have chosen such a boring woman like you. Then why doesn't he just divorce me and marry you, Rachel? The fact he hasn't done that shows a mistress is always second. Get it? Huh? Enjoy sitting on your high horse as the legal wife while you can. You've let yourself go so much it's hard to believe you were a model. Everything's going downhill. After the baby, even your figure's not the same, practically false advertising. Harry said he married you for your trophy wife look. He could ask his dad to introduce him to someone better, but there's the kid to consider. Looks like your days as Mrs. King are numbered. Talking bad about his wife in front of his mistress is a classic move. Harry probably exaggerates the insults to make sure Rachel doesn't run away. But still, I can't understand why Harry, who likes younger women, would get involved with a 35-year-old auntie like Rachel. We're the same age, and if he's gonna have a mistress, you'd think he'd pick someone younger and cuter. After all, I know all the shady things Rachel has done. Did Harry choose Rachel on a whim? Or is there some good in Rachel that I don't know about? Meanwhile, Harry is sound asleep with an 4 drip in his arm. Or maybe just pretending. So, what's your aim in being Harry's mistress, Rachel? It's all about the money, right? You've always been like that, choosing any means for money. Without money, you couldn't afford all that plastic surgery, or hop from one old man to another, making mistress deals. Spending your prime in your 20s with those old guys must have been exhausting, right? Being a pretty and stylish woman, you're destined to be discarded eventually. Noticing my value declining around 30, I smartly got married first. I'm the winner here. Don't make me laugh. Your partner is Harry, that makes you the loser. Plus, it was a shotgun wedding. If it wasn't for the baby, you definitely wouldn't have married him. Being pampered by those old men is part of my charm. I'm a celebrity, after all. No amount of money spent on my appearance and beauty is enough. I need to maintain a high level of beauty consciousness, always being someone to look up to. Isn't it right to be greedy in that sense? Yeah, it was well known in the industry. You got big jobs through the casting couch. But lacking talent, some clients didn't call you back after one job. What's wrong with using the casting couch? It got me big jobs and good experiences. Acting all prim and proper like you, Sulla, doesn't work in our world. It's all about how famous you get. Otherwise, why would I be in this industry? I had more jobs than you, Rachel. I was an exclusive model for fashion magazines and even an assistant on comedy TV shows. I rose to that level without resorting to the casting couch. Don't try to one-up me. I walked the runway at the New York collection by myself, you know? You were just one of the many, Sulla. That's all you've got to brag about, Rachel. Just one solo runway walk nowadays, you're hardly active, right? Time to realize you're on the decline. Oh, that's why you're a mistress now. You get money without working. Must be nice. I'm busy every day taking care of my 4-year-old son, but you're just idle. Did you know the rumors when you married Harry, Sulla? People were saying the father of your baby might be Joseph. He always favored you so much. I heard Joseph set you up with Harry, but maybe you were Joseph's mistress? Huh? Don't spread such nonsense. Rachel, you've always been jealous, haven't you? Even before I married Harry, you were the one trolling me on social media. Calling me ugly and fat, saying I got jobs through the casting couch, accusing me of not caring about my fans, saying I splurge on shallow men at nightclub every night. You've been non-stop trolling me every day. Every morning, you'd write nasty things about me, then search yourself online and get depressed. Thought you weren't caught? After I got married, I requested disclosure, so I know it's true. Then why don't you sue me through a lawyer? I wrote only the truth, so you can't. You might have thought you were popular with many fans, but you had a lot of haters.
I was just the catalyst, everyone else was writing what they were thinking. Don't be so paranoid. You trolled not only me but also other popular girls in the agency. Venting your own lack of popularity by bringing others down is the lowest. Isn't that why you never made it big? The agency was even troubled by how to deal with you.
Rachel was never the agency's top star, but she acted like a prima donna. Overconfident in her abilities and somewhat famous, she became arrogant. Rachel increasingly escalated, becoming choosy about her jobs. Frankly, everyone wondered, where does that confidence come from? First, she refused to wear swimsuits or revealing outfits. Entering the agency, the first job most models do is swimsuit work. It's a rite of passage that everyone goes through. I didn't like it either, but the agency's pressure left no choice. But without doing so, she wouldn't have been able to garner recognition or interest from men. Even as we aged, there was still a demand for us. Rachel had been appealing to her agency to focus on modeling for famous magazines and photo book jobs. Then, she expressed her desire to venture into fashion industry. Influencers, models, and idols often dabble in apparel or beauty products as side businesses. Rachel wanted to join their ranks. However, nobody expected Rachel, with her level of fame, to succeed. Despite this, Rachel established her apparel brand using her own savings and loans from the bank. In the end, Rachel, you're just half-hearted. Your apparel line was just lending your name, you weren't really involved in managing it, right? Then, when your designs were criticized as copies and you quickly shut it down, you unlearnedly jumped into producing a cosmetics brand. Again, just lending your name with hardly any involvement, making a percentage off it. But didn't you quit quickly after numerous complaints about skin irritation? What do you really want to do? You're just frustrated because you couldn't marry or have kids at the ideal age, right? Ideal age? What era are you talking about? We're in the modern times now. Marriage and having kids aren't the only happiness for a woman. So, you became Harry's mistress for that reason? It wasn't just any rich guy you wanted, but specifically my husband, right? You've always seen me as a rival, Rachel. That's why it was Harry. Otherwise, someone cautious like you would never get involved with a player like him. Don't flatter yourself. I never considered you a rival. You're not even in my sight. Then why Harry? Caught off guard by my question, Rachel stumbled for words. She wanted to steal what was mine. Her purpose was to make me unhappy.
I'm done with it now, satisfied.
What? At that moment, Harry groaned yawn. And opened his eyes. He was nonchalantly taking a shower. Are you two still here? I can't leave the hospital today, it's an inpatient examination.
Man, whose fault you think that is? If ya ain't know how to handle a cruiser, damn not invited me in the first place.
Rachel's true nature surfaced. Suddenly talking like a man. I took you on the cruiser because you wanted to. I've been piloting it since I was 20, it wasn't my mistake, just rough seas.
Harry, your favorite pickup line has always been, I have a cruiser in the Hamptons, wanna ride? How many women have fallen for that trap? And it had to be me, a model, who gets stranded with you. Are you a jinx? Huh? After making me spend so much money, and now you say this to someone weak from and for?
It's over between me and Rachel.
Huh, that's my line. I don't want anything to do with you. You'll pay for this scar on my face.
Ah, so noisy. It's a hospital, keep it down.
That's why I hate old ladies.
Sulla, cover for me.
I don't really understand money management.
I couldn't believe Harry remained unfazed in this bizarre scene of his wife and mistress confronting each other. Is it because he's been through so many scandals with women? Harry, you seem to think you'll always have money, but the current situation isn't that rosy. Plastic surgery is expensive, and including Rachel's compensation, it's a lot of money. You can't possibly pay that. I responded calmly. I had known about Harry and Rachel's affair for a long time. Harry lived openly with his infidelities, thinking he was a capable man. But how does he think money comes in with neither him nor his father Joseph working?
What? Can't pay, what do you mean? Did Dad say something? But he's not in a position to say anything.
Like father, like son, Harry and Joseph are exactly alike in their womanizing and reckless spending. Joseph's hit debut was 40 years ago. He's occasionally mentioned for TV shows like Good Old Hit Song or What's That Nostalgic Man Up Now, but he's mostly a figure of the past. That one hit song brought in so much money, it drove Joseph mad. He hit success right after debuting, so he never knew struggle. Despite being a one-hit wonder, Joseph still clings to his past glory, acting all high and mighty as a celebrity. His womanizing, reckless spending, and drinking drove his wife, my mother-in-law, to divorce him 20 years ago. It was right around the time when Harry was 20 years old. With Joseph being like that, Harry also got carried away, doing whatever he wanted. At school, he'd boast about his dad being a celebrity and being rich. For example, like having a maid, owning luxury cars, and even a cruiser. While those were true, thinking it still applies now is just delusional. The King family doesn't have any extra money left. If they keep spending like this, they won't last another year. Yet, neither Joseph nor Harry see it. Joseph never really got involved in parenting. So he doesn't nag Harry about having a steady job. He has a flamboyant personality, living by the motto "live as you please on my money." Thanks to that, Harry, even at 40, hops from one job to another. More like trying to start businesses or helping friends, but always ending up being scammed. With money, bad people tend to flock around. Harry is naively trusting and easily deceived. Despite repeating these mistakes, he never learns. Thinking easy money is possible is fundamentally wrong. Hey, what happened to my cruiser? Did it get damaged when it capsized? Is it unusable now? Caring about your cruiser over me, you're really pathetic as a human being. Why did I even get involved with you? I've wasted 2 years. Maybe I could have found a decent marriage prospect in that time. You were with me just for my money, weren't you? Always asking for brand name stuff every time we met, showing it off on Instagram as if that's your life's purpose. At 35, flaunting wealth is just embarrassing. There's nothing attractive about you, Harry, besides money. But listening to Sulla, it sounds like you're running out. Even if you lose all your money, I'll still get my treatment and compensation. Sell the house, the company, even the cruiser, and make the money. Enough, just leave. Sulla, can you ask the nurse to escort Rachel out? My head hurts just being around her. Funny how you only treat Sulla as your wife in times like this. You badmouth her in front of me, but act all high and mighty in front of her. I've had quite the show. Anyway, I'll be sure to claim my treatment costs and compensation. Shut up. I should sue you instead. I don't know what Harry thinks he can sue for, but his stubbornness shows even in clear defeat. See you in court, then. With that, Rachel left. Left alone with Harry, an awkward silence filled the air. Seriously, I thought I was gonna die. When I was thrown into the sea, going under, I was honestly scared. But I'm glad I didn't die. Right, Sulla? My mind was made up. There's nothing good left in being involved with Harry. If anything, like this incident, only bad things happen. I need to make things clear, for our son's sake. The next day, Harry was discharged from the hospital. Luckily, not having been in too deep water or going too fast. Although he had there were no significant injuries. As a former model, I did feel a bit of sympathy for Rachel. A facial scar for a model is as serious as losing a life. But as Harry's mistress, Rachel might face cold judgment from the public. Within 2 days, a letter arrived for Harry from Rachel's agency, demanding compensation for her injuries and emotional distress, plus damages for tarnishing her image as a product. Even Harry was rendered speechless by this. It was because the amount demanded was enormous. Hiring a lawyer on his part would also cost a lot. Is there no way out? Maybe I should ask Dad. Man, Rachel turned out to be a real hassle. I thought I was doing the right thing when she said she was pregnant, even considered raising the child as my own. But it turned out to be a lie. I was fooled and let the relationship drag on. Recently, I've been thinking of ending it anyway. Don't lie. You wouldn't invite a woman you were planning to break up with on a cruise date. If she meant nothing, you'd have just met at a hotel. You wanted to show off, right? Save your excuses. Well, she was the one who seduced me. You know, the honey trap. She's a model, good-looking, great figure. Maybe I got carried away. No matter what you say now, it's too late. This is a good opportunity for me to leave too. I'll file the divorce later.
Of course, I'm taking our son. Wait, what? Divorce? Were you serious about the divorce papers in the hospital? Just jealous because it was Rachel? I was trapped by Rachel too. Stop making excuses, it's embarrassing. The issue with Rachel was just the final straw. I've been thinking about divorce for a while. I can't keep up with you, Harry. Maybe being single suits you better? I'll make sure to get alimony and child support, so be responsible about that.
Following Rachel, I left the King house with our son, planning to stay at my parents' place for a while. Harry is a terrible man, but he's still our son's father. I kept in touch with the King's housekeeper for updates. Harry seemed to be in quite a mess. The combined claims from Rachel and me amounted to a significant sum. Harry, who never looks at price tags when shopping, didn't realize how much money he actually had. He could buy anything with Joseph's family card. Despite his talk of countersuing Rachel, I wonder what his lawyer advised him. In the end, Harry couldn't file a lawsuit against Rachel. Naturally, he turned to Joseph for help. But Joseph suddenly had a stroke and was hospitalized. He survived, but was left with paralysis on his right side. The medical bills were heavy, and now there were expenses for Joseph's care. Why is money always so controlling? Joseph might be thinking. With Joseph incapacitated, it turned out the Kings had almost no money left. I had previously warned Harry about our financial situation, but either he didn't believe me or just didn't care. Joseph knew we had no money, but he couldn't bring himself to lower his standard of living. So, despite being broke, he couldn't give up his lavish lifestyle. Unaware or pretending not to know, Harry continued his carefree ways with affairs, drinking, and eating extravagantly. He knew the truth, but chose to ignore it. This was evident since Harry had also accumulated debts. A life without money was unimaginable for him. He probably had baseless confidence that he could repay his debts. But faced with reality, even Harry turned pale. Unsure of what to do, he consulted a lawyer. As a result, the King family had to sell their land, luxury car, and cruiser. Joseph couldn't stay in the hospital forever. And he had to take care of him at home. By then, both Rachel and I were gone. Harry realized he had no one else to rely on. Those he thought were friends were only after his money. When times got tough, nobody was there to help or support him. Without the funds to place Joseph in a facility, Harry was left to juggle work and unfamiliar caregiving. I see Harry's situation as his own doing. I've been grateful to Joseph since his entertainment days, but his son, Harry, has caused me nothing but trouble. Joseph was the one who introduced Harry, which was the first step towards this failure. The one thing I thank Harry for is our beautiful son. That's the only thing I'm grateful for. We've been living off the mysterious money of the King family, but now it's time for me to work. I had just heard that Rachel was leaving her agency to start her own. When I asked to rejoin the agency, they quickly agreed. It turns out Rachel was fired. She had a habit of being late and sometimes left work early if she didn't like it. Still, Rachel was popular and had plenty of work. So the agency couldn't dismiss her. But her attitude eventually spread as bad reputation in the industry. Complaints from clients and partners became too much, and the agency couldn't protect her anymore. So that's why Rachel was fired. My timing was perfect. There was an anti-aging cosmetics commercial that they were considering Rachel for, being close to her 40s. With my return, I got the ad contract instead. This led to more work and frequent TV appearances. My restart has been going great.